In this video, I'm going to show you the top 10 craziest Minecraft inconsistencies, starting with the Nether Star and Beacon items. Now, the first thing to know about the Nether Star item is it is dropped by the powerful Wither boss, and what you can do with the Nether Star item is you can craft that aforementioned beacon block, but what you can also do is try exploding it. So if I take the Nether Star item and I take the block of TNT and I throw them both into the obsidian box over here, then what you will notice is that the Nether Star item will actually survive the explosion. So let me back up here so I don't get damaged, and yes, there we go. So the Nether Star item has survived intact. However, what is inconsistent about this is if I craft this Nether Star into a beacon block, and again, the beacon block is theoretically much more powerful than the Nether Star, arguably the most powerful block in the game, but the Nether Star remains the core of the block. So if I craft the Nether Star into the beacon block with the 5 pieces of glass around the top corners and the 3 pieces of obsidian along the bottom, then what you will notice is this beacon block, however, will not be immune to the explosion. So I've put down the TNT, light it up, and there we go. You can see that the Nether Star item, or sorry, the beacon item is actually destroyed. So why is it inconsistent? Why is it like that? How come the Nether Star can survive explosions, but the beacon block cannot? But let's get right into the next inconsistency, which relates to lava and other nether items. So as you know, the Nether Star is related to the nether. It's part of the Wither boss's drop, and what you can do is you kill Wither, and it's made out of soul sand and Wither skeleton skulls. But another nether item is the netherite pickaxe and other netherite tools made out of ancient debris that you find in the nether. And as you might expect, netherite tools, being nether items, do not burn in lava. You throw them in lava and they float, but the same cannot be said for the Nether Star, which if you throw it in lava, it just burns like any other item, which makes no sense. Why do some nether items burn in lava, but why are other nether items immune to lava? But anyway, let's get right into the next inconsistency, which has to do with jumping, and specifically the heights of blocks you can jump over. So this right here is a cobblestone wall, and you can see that the cobblestone wall, not too tall. It's actually shorter than this iron block over here. You can see it's about 2 lines shorter over there. But if I try jumping over the cobblestone wall, I cannot. I'm stopped in my tracks. I'm trying to jump over it, but if I try jumping over the iron block, I can jump on it easily. Why can I do this? The iron block is clearly taller than the cobblestone wall, and yet for whatever reason, I can't jump over it. But it gets even worse. So I've put 4 snow layers on top of this iron block over here. At least I think it's 4, it might have been 3. But as you can see, here's the cobblestone wall. Cannot jump over it. I just run up to it and I jump over it, but it doesn't happen. But yet, look at this. This is at least like 1.5 times as tall as the cobblestone wall, but yet I'm able to jump over this iron block with snow on top of it, and yet I can't not jump over the cobblestone wall. But moving on to the next inconsistency, it has to do with the heads, specifically the mob heads and the monster heads that some of Minecraft's mobs do drop. Now, first of all, one of the inconsistencies is, why do only sub-mobs drop their head? There's creeper heads, skeleton skulls, player heads, but you can't even get all of these. You can only get the wither skeleton skull unless you're using a charged creeper, and other animals like spiders. Why don't spiders drop their heads? Why don't cave spiders drop their heads? Why don't endermen drop their heads? And why is the only skull that you can get without a charged creeper the wither skeleton skull? And why can't you get why can't you get player heads at all in survival Minecraft? So the point is, skulls and heads, very inconsistent. But moving on to the next inconsistency, we have cake, which is different to all other food items in that with cake, unlike with most other food items, you eat a food item in Minecraft just by holding right click and you eat the food item, and there you go, you eat it. But with cake, you actually have to place it down. No other Minecraft food item can even be placed down in the first place, yet with cake you have to place it down in order to eat it. But moving on to the next inconsistency, this also has to do with food items, specifically with golden food items. Now, as you may know, there are plenty of golden food items in Minecraft. There are golden apples, golden carrots, and there's even a special golden melon slice item called the glistering melon. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to try eating some of these melons, some of the food items, and I'm sure we can eat the golden apples, but we can eat a carrot, we can eat a golden carrot, we can eat a melon slice, and we cannot eat the glistering melon slice, which makes no sense. We can eat all of the other golden food items, yet we cannot eat the glistering melon slice. So let's move on to the next inconsistency, which has to do with items, specifically, not items, but blocks, specifically the ladder and vine blocks. I guess you could consider them items though, but essentially the inconsistency with these is that you can have hanging ladders, you can have hanging vines, but you cannot have hanging ladders. So if I break the blocks supporting up the vines, you see the vines still stay in place as long as the top vine is supported. However, when it comes to ladders, the same cannot be said. So if you can see over here, I'm going to break the ladder, the block supporting the ladder, and as you can see, the ladders break with them. Why is this the case? Who knows? I think it would be really cool if you could have a hanging ladder builds in survival modes, but as it currently stands, you have to do that in creative mode with the use of barrier blocks. So, moving on to the next inconsistency now, that has to do with stone tools, or we'd put stone in quotation marks, I think, because are they actually stone tools? Well, let's find out. So, if I go ahead and open this chest over here, we're going to first dump some of my miscellaneous items that I had from earlier, but we're going to take some cobblestone. We'll take 3 cobblestone, and we will take 2 sticks, and we will make ourselves a stone pickaxe. So 3 cobblestone on top, 2 sticks in the middle, and there you go, we have our stone pickaxe. We crafted a stone pickaxe, isn't that nice? But if I take myself 3 stone blocks and 2 sticks, you would think that I would be able to craft a stone pickaxe out of stone. However, that does not work. Nothing happens. I cannot craft a stone pickaxe out of stone. I cannot craft any stone tools out of stone. Why are they even called stone tools then? But anyway, let's put these back because we are going to move on to the next inconsistency now, which relates to tools again, and specifically to wooden and stone tools and buttons. So as you know, you can make buttons out of wood and stone, and you can also make tools out of wood and stone. However, what is inconsistent is that the wooden button is better than the stone button, but wooden tools are worse than stone tools. So here we have the buttons. If I press the wooden button, I get 1.5 seconds worth of redstone energy, but if I press the stone button, I only get 1 second worth of redstone energy, so that's much worse. And in addition as well, another thing that makes the wooden button better as compared to the stone button is the ability to use a bow. You fire an arrow at the bow, you fire an arrow at the button, and the wooden button turns on, and the stone button does not. And just to show you that wooden tools are indeed worse than stone tools, which you should already know, I'm just going to break a couple blocks here. I break the redstone lamps. I think those probably take about the same time. But if I break this chiseled quartz block, you can see that the stone pickaxe does indeed break it better, which means that it is inconsistent with stone tools being better than wooden tools, yet wooden buttons being much better than stone buttons. But anyway, moving on to our next inconsistency. This is our 10th inconsistency out of 10. So thank you so much for watching this far. Please subscribe if you have. But let's take a look at some items, and specifically item stacks. So you can see here, the snowball item stacks to 16, but the snow block item stacks to 64. This makes no sense, because the snow block is crafted out of 4 snowballs. So if it's crafted out of 4 snowballs, shouldn't the snow block item only stack to 4 then? Because let's even say that I'm crafting a full stack of snow blocks, or I'm crafting as many snow blocks as I can with 16 snowballs, I'm only able to craft 16, and yet with the full stack of snow blocks here, I'm able to hold so much more than that, despite them supposedly being made out of the same material, snow. Another issue similar to that is eggs and cakes. You can have 64 cakes in one stack on Bedrock Edition and the Legacy Console Editions, but you can only have 16 eggs in a stack, even though each cake has an egg. So I'm essentially holding 64 eggs there instead of 16. You also have a single diamond being used to make a diamond shovel, despite the ability to have 64 entire diamond blocks with 9 diamonds each of them, but you can only hold a single diamond shovel at a time. That's 576 diamonds I can hold in my hand with my stack of diamond blocks, as compared to 1 single diamond I can hold in my hand with my diamond shovel. But anyway, with that in mind, that is actually our 10th and final inconsistency that I'm showing off in this video. Of course, there are plenty more inconsistencies. I just selected a few that I thought were the funniest or the weirdest, or the ones that probably should be fixed. Frankly, I do think that the ladder thing should be fixed first. I mean, it's not necessarily a bug, so it wouldn't necessarily need to be fixed, but you know what I mean. But anyway, let's review each of the ones we've had so far. We had the lava and the nether star items. We have the jumping here with the ability to jump over higher blocks and not being able to jump over lower blocks. We have the heads and the fact that some mobs have heads, others do not, and you can only get the wither skeleton head in survival without use of charged creepers. We have the cakes and the fact that those are the only food items you get by placing down. We have the carrots, golden carrots, melons, golden melons, and not being able to eat the golden melon. And again, here's those ladder items, and here's the vine item. And again, you can't use the ladders, but you can use the vines with them hanging off of a block. And then we had the stone tools not being crafted with stone. We had the stone buttons being worse than wooden buttons, despite wooden buttons being better, or despite wooden tools being better than stone tools. And finally, we had these non-stackable items, or the weirdly stackable items. So thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. It certainly was enjoyable for me to make it, though it was a bit difficult. I do have some trouble getting the time to make these videos, but you know what? I made this video for you, so if you did enjoy it, please subscribe, leave a like, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.